Where you're from, you may be an apostate, but here, you'd be landed gentry.
Forget Tatooine. Star Wars' next movie is hinting at two planets we haven't seen on screen in 45 years. While Tatooine has been a staple in the galaxy far, far away, the Mandalorian and Grogu seems to be setting its sights on some long-lost worlds. So, in today's video, we're breaking down all the latest updates, from a Mandalorian star practically confirming her appearance to why I think Lucasfilm has finally learned George Lucas's most important lesson. There's a lot to cover, so stick around. Now let's dive in. Continuing the story from the Mandalorian TV show, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is set to take place a little over 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. Because of that, there's a real chance for some overlap between this movie and the original Star Wars trilogy, which is pretty exciting for fans who love that era. That being said, most details about the movie are still being kept under wraps, aside from a few official reveals here and there. But if there's one thing The Mandalorian has done well, it's embracing crossovers with the original trilogy, like visiting places such as Mos Eisley on Tatooine. Now it looks like the movie might keep up that tradition. There are actually 2 planets from The Empire Strikes Back that could make an appearance, and neither of them have been seen on screen since 1980. The first one is Bespin, home to the famous Cloud City, which was run by Lando Calrissian back in the day. Recently, some new details emerged about how the Mandalorian and Grogu will be connected to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. Specifically, concept art for the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run attraction shows a Razor Crest, presumably Din Djarin's, flying alongside the Falcon toward Cloud City. While this theme park edition isn't meant to be an exact recreation of scenes from the movie, it does seem to line up with its overall storyline. And the timing is interesting too. Both The Mandalorian and Grogu and this new Smuggler's Run expansion launch on May 22, 2026, which makes the connection between them even stronger. If Bespin really is featured in the movie, it would actually make a lot of sense. The Imperial Remnant would likely want to seize Cloud City's Tibanna gas supply, since controlling it would give them leverage over hyperspace travel, something they definitely need if they're trying to bring the Empire back into power. Given that Din Djarin is working as a bounty hunter for the New Republic Rangers, it wouldn't be surprising if he gets sent in to stop them. But Bespin isn't the only planet from The Empire Strikes Back that might be making a comeback. At 2024's D23 event, exclusive footage was shown that featured Din and Grogu on a snowy planet. And then, in another shot, there were AT-ATs. Now, there are a few snowy planets in Star Wars, but let's be real, it's probably Hoth. The connection to The Empire Strikes Back is just too strong for it to be anywhere else. Hoth actually fits into the Mandalorian and Grogu story pretty well too. The Imperial Remnant has been laying low, waiting for the right time to make a move. If they were using an old Rebel Alliance base as a secret hideout, it would make perfect sense, especially Echo Base, which they famously took over in The Empire Strikes Back. If that's the case, bringing Hoth back into the mix could open up a ton of interesting story possibilities that Star Wars would definitely want to explore. Now, some fans might be wondering, does revisiting these planets risk making the Star Wars galaxy feel too small? It's a fair concern. Tatooine, for example, was originally supposed to be this remote, middle-of-nowhere planet that hardly ever saw any important visitors. But now, thanks to The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, it feels like the busiest spot in the galaxy. It's understandable why some people are worried about that happening again, but honestly, I don't think that's the case here. Unlike Tatooine, Bespin and Hoth haven't been overused at all. If anything, they've been left alone for decades. And in this movie, both planets actually serve a purpose in the story, rather than just being included for nostalgia. So rather than making the galaxy feel small, their return feels like a natural way to honor The Empire Strikes Back while still pushing the story forward. In fact, visiting these planets might actually be the perfect tribute to the original trilogy. The Mandalorian has always been great at paying homage to classic Star Wars while telling fresh stories, so it makes sense that the movie would do the same. Either way, one thing's for sure, The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be packed with action and adventure, whether or not we end up seeing these locations again. Now, speaking of things to look forward to, there's been a lot of speculation about who else might be showing up in the movie. One name that keeps coming up is Bo-Katan Kryze, played by Katie Sackhoff. She had a pretty significant role in The Mandalorian Season 3, even stepping up as the leader of Mandalore. so it's only natural that people are wondering if she'll be back. Recently, during a panel at Indiana Comic-Con, Sackhoff was asked directly if she'd be in the movie. Her response? "I have not been in the armor in 2025. Now, if that was all she said, it might seem like a clear denial, but according to Collider, she said it with a big grin, which kind of made it sound like she's playing coy. And here's the thing. Filming for The Mandalorian and Grogu wrapped up in December 2024, so technically, Sackhoff wouldn't be lying, even if she was in the movie. It definitely seems like she was trying to dodge the question while still teasing fans just enough to keep the excitement going. Given how big a role Bo-Katan played in Season 3, it wouldn't be surprising at all if she's back for the movie too. Bo-Katan's return actually makes a lot of sense when you think about where the story left off. By the end of The Mandalorian Season 3, she had fully reclaimed her place as Mandalore's leader, and the planet was just beginning to rebuild. Even though Din Djarin had settled on Navarro and is working with the New Republic, it's hard to imagine him not being involved in whatever happens with Mandalore next. If we're lucky, we might even see Bo-Katan stepping into an even bigger leadership role in the movie, possibly dealing directly with the New Republic. There were hints of that in The Mandalorian Season 3, like in Episode 6, when the Duchess of Placer 15 promised to support Mandalore's recognition as a sovereign system. That could be setting up a major storyline for Bo-Katan in The Mandalorian and Grogu, and I'd bet we'll see it play out. On a bigger level, it also seems like Lucasfilm might finally be taking a page from George Lucas's playbook when it comes to making Star Wars movies. Lucas was always a visionary, but more importantly, he was a filmmaker who made the movies he wanted to make, no matter what critics said. He once compared it to painting a house. If he wanted to paint it white, that's what he was going to do, even if other people thought it should be green. That mindset led to some controversial choices during the prequel era, but it also allowed Lucas to push the boundaries of filmmaking, especially with CGI. Characters like Jar Jar Binks paved the way for Gollum in The Lord of the Rings, and even the technology used in Avatar. But beyond innovation, Lucas also knew how to keep costs under control, something that's become a challenge for modern Star Wars productions. If Lucasfilm is really starting to embrace that same approach again, it could mean great things for The Mandalorian and Grogu. By focusing on a clear vision and smart budgeting, rather than just chasing blockbuster trends, they might finally recapture some of the magic that made Star Wars special in the first place. And with this movie, it feels like they're on the right track. And that's what we have to say about upcoming movie. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.